Well, it looks like Newcastle's dream signing has turned into a nightmare already. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. Emergency breaking news update, right? I was just editing the video that I recorded about an hour ago on Newcastle targets, and I mentioned Elanga in that one. However, breaking news right now from David Ornstein at The Athletic, top source, is that Newcastle United have had a bid rejected by Forest for Anthony Elanga. So double down on the bad news and on the rejections. I'm laughing because if not, what's the point? Anyways, I'm not going to get too frustrated on this one, Elanga and stuff. But it is the news that is just coming out right this second. I had me editing doing in front of us, and I thought I'm going to flip my phone up. I don't want to make a whole new video for it, so this is going to get chucked into the current video I'm editing, right? Long-winded, that one. Anyways, point of this little segment that I'm introducing now is that Newcastle have had a bid rejected of £45 million for the Swedish winger. Isak's teammate, he wants to move to the Toon. I talked about that in the video, but Forest don't want to sell him. Again, just like Scalvini at Atalanta, nobody wants to sell to Newcastle. We can't get any money. We can't get anybody. So now it looks like Newcastle might move on to other targets. Kudos from West Ham, that's going to cost a lot of money, or Semenyo from Bournemouth. So there's some breaking news for you people. Maybe I'll do a video on this in more depth later on or tomorrow, because it's already, 4 o'clock, so not ideal. Had the other video lined up. You're still going to see that, and it's still decent, so don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned, right? And watch the full video and let us know your thoughts. But jump in quickly. I just jumped in quickly to bring you this breaking news on Elanga bid rejected. Forest don't want to sell. It's disappointing. Obviously, we know we want Elanga. We know we've targeted him for a while now. He's a big admirer, Eddie Howe is, of the Swedish winger. But Forest, again, they've got Conference League. They've got big ambitions. They don't want to sell the big stars. And fair enough, can we really kick off? We don't want to sell Tino. Man City come knocking. Nope, don't want to sell him. Isak, everyone wants him. Won't want him to take crazy money. We can do that to other clubs. Other clubs are doing that to us. So there we go. I mean, we'll have to see what happens. Maybe Newcastle go back in with another bid, test the water. Can we involve a player in this deal? There was talks of maybe Harvey Barnes being included in this transfer the other day. So could we get this one going? Could it still be one to keep an eye on? Or, like the Athletic are stating, will it be a case of, nah, we're not time wasting, no more time wasting. We did it all last summer. We haven't seen anyone for years. Windows and windows have gone by now and we're not getting anything done. So maybe not. Maybe, like they've said, it will be a Semenyo or a Kudos now. There's other right wingers options out there. Them two I mentioned. There's ones abroad. You've got Kun from Celtic. You've got other names being mentioned around Europe that have just gone out in my head as I try and think of one. Of course they have. What's the one we linked the other day? Doesn't matter. There's loads of them. Anyways, you can drop some recommendations in the comments. Should we go back in for Elanga? Should we pick another right winger from abroad? Or do you like the Premier League links that have been given from the Athletic that I've stated in this video? There we go. Quick one for you. Going to include this one in and then try and upload it once more. Just watching, everyone. Drop your thoughts below. Subscribe to the channel and enjoy the rest of the video. On that dream signing thing, right, yesterday it came out from Fabrizio Romano that Newcastle's dream target this summer was Giorgio Scalvini. However, Italian reports are now saying that that is not going to happen. He is not for sale at any price. Now, these sources aren't the best, JIFN and Tutu at Atlanta. It's not like Romano is saying that, even though he can't be that trusted these days, to be fair. Or, I like to go down the Athletic or your Sky Sports. That's where I'm looking at, but they didn't report anything in Scalvini. And sometimes they don't report things until they're quite far down the line. So on this one, so far, it looks like Newcastle United have had an approach rejected by Atlanta for their young Italian defender. Now, I think this deal was always going to be a hard one to get done. They don't want to sell him. They see him as a key part of their future, into the Champions League next year. They want the young Italian defender to remain at them and progress and continue to do well for the national side, and more importantly, in their opinion, at Atlanta. Now, you know that in Italy, he's got huge admirers as well from Serie A champions Napoli. So there's always a case there. Well, if he wants to remain in Italy, he can count to the best team in Italy at the moment. He's not going to be short of options. Is a young Italian kid going to move to Italy? Sandro should let Giorgio know the score and get him here. But then again, I've seen a lot of comments yesterday, to be fair, mainly on social media, talking about his injury record, saying like, bloody hell, his injury record's worse than Jonathan Woodgate, the Italian Woodgate. You can't say it. It's not the best. He does have quite a injury-prone record then. He is, obviously, off the back of an ACL, which we discussed yesterday. But as I mentioned in yesterday's video, so was Tino Livramento. So I'm not too fussed by that. I think when you're that young, you're going to come back stronger. I know over time there, of course, of his career, he has had a few absentees and other little problems. So maybe it's not the worst thing in the world, this. But for me, let's just know where we're at straight away with Atlanta. We don't want to do with Atlanta like we did with Crystal Palace last year over Mark Gahey. If it's a no, if it's ridiculous, he's apparently not for sale at any price. Everyone's got a price. You know what I mean? If you gave them 80, 90 million, I'm sure they would take that then. But according to reports, you know, what you'd think would be a 40, 50 million signing, nope, they're not interested. So if they're not interested, and that's true, and they've got no intention of selling, let's move on from Atalanta and let's move on from Scalvini. As much as he's an exciting prospect there, the Italian defender, I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm not wasting the full summer again going on and on about a centre-back and not bloody sign him like we did with Gahey. So let's just get on to the next target, yeah? What's happening with Diamande at Palace? Is that one getting done? If not, gun for him. Gahey, Liverpool, no progress on that yet either. Don't mention Gahey, actually. Well, PTSD of last summer. Let's move on. Let's move on from centre-back. And there's more talks today, again, kind of repeating things as they like to do. Different journalists, different articles, kind of regurgitating rumours until something actually happens. So we'll not focus on this too much. But once again, Newcastle are apparently in the ascendancy for João Pedro. Although we do want to do that deal at way less than the 60 million asking price. So Chelsea, of course it's Chelsea, sniffing around one of our targets once more. But Newcastle are leading the race to sign the Brazilian forward. Now, we kind of covered that last week, to be honest. I don't need to go into that one again about João Pedro, but we are definitely eyeing him up this summer for a move. And a bit more development, like, is it much development? Again, it's one of them ones where you think they're just pushing it out there again. But Newcastle United are advancing once more in talks with Burnley over James Trafford, and sources say a deal could be done this week. So there's the difference there. We're not thinking next week anymore, the week after, into July, this week, according to some reports there. Franz Fletcher is stating that Newcastle are really pushing to get the deal done in the next few days. So that would be interesting. We do get someone in before that PSR deadline. Not sure how good that source is, not sure how good it could be true, but at the end of the day, we know we want Trafford, we know we're negotiating with Burnley, and it just seems like it's a matter of time, really. You know, I think this one will get done. He will be signing for the Toon, but this week would be a push. Now to see it can't happen, but it would be moving quickly if that was the case. Now, we've talked about signings, but we haven't talked much about outgoings so far this window. We're doing that Callum Wilson and John Ruddy's contract is expiring on the 30th of June as well, so will we see them extend their stay at the Toon? Newcastle are trying to get them tied down to new deals. Callum Wilson on a more of an incentive-based, pay-as-you-play type deal. That one will be tough to do, especially if Wilson's got other offers from newly promoted Premier League clubs. If the rumours are true that Leeds United are looking at him and a few others, and maybe even abroad, then will you just think, you know, it is Newcastle, have a lovely time here, but it's time to go. And I think that's right for everyone. You know, Wilson, great number 9 when he's been fit, dragged us through some grim days under Ashley, but where we're at now, we need fitter, more reliable, healthy strikers. You know, a younger, hungrier striker maybe, or just even a one that's around Wilson's age. I don't mind that actually stays fit and can chip in with goals and stuff. Wilson, unfortunately, he's just not that fit anymore, not that reliable, and it's time to move on. And he goes with my best wishes. I think he's been an absolute, I was going to say legend. Is he a legend? He's close, I suppose. Like, you know, if he wasn't for him, we'd probably be in the Championship or League One without his goals under the Steve Bruce days and stuff. So, I don't know, let us know what you think. I mean, he's wore the number 9 well. He's one of our top goal scorers for sure. So, honestly, I wish him all the best. But for now, and going into the Champions League, I think it's very important we get some stronger attacking options. We're better options everywhere on the pitch, to be fair. Another player that is linked with leaving, though, is one of our own, Sean Longstaff. Now, this one's from The Athletic, so it's more credible for me. And I've been saying it all along, you know. We know that Longstaff's up for sale, he's up for grabs. And it is confirmed here that we are going to consider offers for Sean Longstaff this summer, and it is very likely that the Geordie will leave his boyhood club. Multiple English clubs are interested in the midfielder, the 27-year-old who did actually turn down opportunities in January. Well played by him and very clever, to be fair, because he knew the pathway we were on, you know, the quarters of the Carabao, the semis, whatever it was at that stage, that there was a chance we'd get back to Wembley and a chance to write his name down in history, and he did just that. Remember, he scored the winning penalty in the first game of the Carabao Cup run, you know, away to Forest. He got us through that round. He scored in the semi-finals the year before and that. And then he's obviously done really well over the years too. He's been at Newcastle United for ages now. Many, many years. From a kid to a trophy winner. So fair play to Longstaff now. He always gives his all for Newcastle United Football Club. But it's a bit like that where, you know, he's not going to get much game time now. You know, you've got your Sandros, your Brunos and that in front of you. That he's going to see it limited. And I don't mind Longstaff. I wouldn't mind keeping him as a squad player, you know, to come on and in the Champions League games, to come on in cup games and whatnot. He's quite reliable, to be fair. So I don't mind it if he stays or goes. But in an FFP world, these are the type of players you need to be selling, to be fair. Ones that are on the fringe, ones that aren't going to get much action, and ones where you can recoup some money. And remember, the money we do recoup for Sean Longstaff is a decent amount, 100%. In fact, pure profit since he came from the academy. So that one ticks a lot of boxes. And I'm sure Sean, at 27, will want regular first-team football, want to push on, and he might want to try something new as well after being here a long time. Obviously, his brother Matty's in Canada. We'll see where Sean turns up, but he's not going to be short of choices either. Fair play to him. Now he's got options for English clubs, and I'm sure he's got options abroad as well. So you could see Longstaff at a Leeds or an Everton. I think those two clubs are very much interested in him. I think Everton and Moyes' new stadium and that, bit of money behind them now. If they get around the points deduction again, they could go. They could go well. So, yeah, fair play. I think that would be a good option for Longstaff. Just say Callum Wilson, all the best to Sean Longstaff, being a great servant for the Mags. Right then, let's focus on this Wonder Kid then. Is he a Wonder Kid? I mean, this gets banded about a bit too much now, doesn't it? Remember, Wonder Kid used to just be like a Messi, or right now, a Lamine Yamal. Now it's like, how good's this kid? Yeah, he's alright, like, he's a bit better than everyone else. Oh, Wonder Kid. How old is he? Oh, he's under 18. Oh, Wonder Kid. Definitely Wonder Kid. Oh, my days. I mean, who knows? He's playing in the K-League 2 at the minute. However, he did have trials at Bayern Munich, and they do want to sign him as well as Spurs. Of course, Spurs do. They want the next Heung-min Son, and that's what he's getting labelled as. Of course he is. He's South Korean, and he's getting labelled as the next best South Korean player ever, Son. And I tell you what, I wish we had Son at Newcastle for the amount of time Tottenham have had him. He's class. Really, really class. Obviously, he's getting older now, but Newcastle are looking to get in that market, and as we've been saying since the takeover happened, I'm surprised it's took this long. You know, you've got to get these players in, get an American in, get a South Korean in, get in those type of markets where you're going to sell shirts and reach a new audience for the club, so you get more vetted interest in around the world. So that's what we want. And this player that we've been looking at is highly rated 18-year-old Park Sunsu, the 6-foot South Korean Park who can play either as a left winger or a striker. Previously did have trials with Bayern Munich, as I mentioned, and it is confirmed. Now there's reports in South Korea stating that he's already signed. They're saying that it's a done deal and he will actually be announced on that pre-season tour of South Korea. Now Newcastle travel to Singapore at the end of July and then they go to South Korea. So on that one there, how much does that make sense? The third shirt, him on the back, him holding it up. What an unveiling that is. And there you go. Shirt sales through the roof in South Korea. Well, through the roof, are they? I mean, he's just at the K-League 2 at the minute, but in future, most definitely, it's definitely a way to get the eyes on you. Once again, since he's linked with Spurs and Bayern Munich, if we pip them to his signature, like we picked Real Madrid and Barcelona to Antonio Cordero, it's definitely a good look. And I like this. I like the look of him. Obviously, I'd never heard him before until last night, but seeing his highlights, you know, he's an exciting player. He's got explosive pace on these highlights, the way he gets in and out of his defenders there and beats his man. He's got impressive agility, and he's 6 foot tall. He looks like a powerful lad, but he's also technical. He can use both feet. He can play across that front three line, really. Quite a dynamic forward, which is what everyone wants these days. So he's a versatile attacking option for Newcastle, or at least in the future, we'll hope. You know, bring him in, get him out on loan for a couple of years, and then who knows? Imagine if we did have the next Son on our hands. I really hope so. I think it's great to see other people in this league, and great to see different nationalities and people thriving like your Son. So to have him at the Toon and hopefully do well, and then reach a new global market there in Asia, get the fans wearing black and white shirts, why not? It's a win-win for me. Like, it makes sense, and I hope this lad does kick on and really foresee his potential. So it's an exciting signing for Newcastle. It's one of them ones to keep an eye on and see how his career develops. But I look forward to seeing him at the Toon. Some transfer business down at Nottingham Forest then looks like it could be leading the way for Anthony Elanga to come to Newcastle. Forest are very much advancing in talks with Juventus to sign Timothy Weah, the 25-year-old American, and Mbangula, the 21-year-old Belgian, on a double deal. So now they are getting personal terms agreed. Looks like it's all happening there. It's a pretty cheap sign, isn't it? For two players, I like, for the money that they're paying for them. So a pair signing there, looks like that could be a good double swoop for them. And then obviously that leaves the way for Elanga to come to the Toon and us to get him signed. That right winger that we are craving, the right winger that we are targeting. And it looks like Isaac's teammate Anthony Elanga is craving the move to Newcastle as well. He's made no shyness of that. He's definitely put it out there. You know, all the Newcastle players are now commenting on his Instagram. His pal was wearing a Toon kit the other day, got everyone excited. I think people are looking at that sort of stuff a bit too much. But on this one, it's a bit weird how some of them, like Botman, for example, is commenting on his social media posts. You could see Isaac, his teammate from his country and stuff like that, or people he's played with in the past, but Botman and that trying to get on it. You know, I think they're talking behind the scenes, and it looks like it's one that could definitely be happening. Elanga to the Mags. When Eddie signed him last year, Elanga came out and said, you know, he was buzzing to be linked with Newcastle. He said how much of a big club we are, and he definitely wants to move. And now that Forest are moving on to replacements, getting these two forwards in from Juventus, it looks like it's paving the path for Elanga to come up north. So there's that one to keep an eye on as well. There's plenty of things circulating, plenty of things in motion. So hopefully we have some concrete news very, very soon on some signings. And again, some outgoings. Let us know all your thoughts on everything that's mentioned in this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you on the next one.